Hello, everyone. Wow, do I have an amazing person and expert interview for you today here at Inspired Coach Podcast. I'm delighted to be interviewing a longtime friend of the Beautiful You Coaching Academy, Becca Tracey. Let me tell you more about Becca. Becca is the founder of The Uncaged Life, where she works with coaches and online business owners to get clear on their brand message, create packages that sell, and help them get clients. She also runs a highly engaged Facebook group of over 15,000. Yes, that's not a mistake, entrepreneurs. Becca started her business while living in a camper van, and she lives in her dream town now of Squamish, BC, surrounded by mountains, where she believes that she's truly living her best uncaged life. Becca is here today to talk to us about things to avoid doing as a new coach. And so if you are somebody who is thinking about becoming a coach, is studying right now, or is in the early stages, you are going to love Becca's very straightforward, loving but direct style. She has this really unique and wonderful way of expressing things so clearly, and in such a way that you really get it and understand what it is that she's talking about. And I think that Becca is somebody that you can truly really trust and believe, because she has been doing this for so many years now. She's devoted to working with coaches and online business owners. She's got the chops, let's just say that, to really know what it is that she's talking about. Becca has 5 incredible things that she wants to share in this episode about what to avoid doing as a new coach. And I'm quite sure if you tune in, they could save you a lot of time, money, effort, heartache, all the things. And so this is a great episode ahead to dive into. Becca Tracey, welcome to Inspired Coach Podcast. You have been a long-time friend of the Beautiful You Coaching Academy, and I'm so delighted to have you on as our guest today.
I know. It's so fun to chat with you again and to get to see you on video because I feel like we haven't seen each other probably for a long time.
It's got to be since pre-pandemic times. I
Oh,
mean,
definitely.
I
Yeah.
know in varying ways that the pandemic is still touching our lives, but pre the time when it was acute and we've seemingly lived online and didn't
Yeah.
see anybody in person. Becca, you are such an incredible coach. You are a coach's coach, one of those very special people that have been for so many years now uplifting the coaching industry and working with coaches in what I consider to be a really straight shooting but loving way. That's what I think
That's
of you
accurate.
as.
That's accurate.
Yeah, you're a straight shooting lover of coaches, and really passionate about helping uplift new coaches, helping them find their very first paying clients, getting their businesses, established with rock solid foundations. And there were so many things that I could have spoken to you about in this interview today, but we've landed on talking about the things that you want to share with everyone that new coaches should avoid doing in their business. So I'm really excited to hear what these things are. And I want to let everybody know that I have got no idea what Becca is about to say. And I'm excited for that because it means that this is a really organic conversation. So before we actually start talking about those avoiding things, can you just tell us, what are you loving about your own coaching at the moment? Give us a little bit of grounding in what Becca's doing right now.
Yeah. I will preface this to say that I guess I call myself a coach, but like I am not a life coach. I do not have anywhere near the amazing skills that your students do, and even the coaches that work in my program do. I like to just say that I teach marketing. So I do have a
Yeah.
coaching background. I went to coach training. All of that. But what I do doesn't feel as much like coaching these days. But I'll put that out there. But I love working with coaches. Um, I work with another coach who is like a full-on life coach. She does the mindset coaching work alongside me teaching the marketing and the strategy in my program. And I'm really loving that collaboration lately. It's first of all, it's just fun to coach with somebody else. I feel like we each kind of pick up on different pieces of the puzzle when we're working with a client. And so we'll have one student on and there's two of us coaching. We always get asked if we do one-on-one coaching and we're like, no, but we do two-on-one coaching. It's even better.
Even better, yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun because we have a nice play where I'll kind of pick something up, and sometimes she has a totally different perspective on it, and so we'll actually have a discussion about it. And I think it's good for coaches to kind of see that there's not just one way to do things, and there's different perspectives, and you kind of have to sort out for yourself as you go what's the quote unquote right way for you to do something. So I'm loving that play of having a couple different coaches that coach with me in my program.
I love that. I absolutely love being in collaboration and working with other people in this industry and having a team here at Beautiful You. It's one of the best parts of it. And you know what, Becca, I really want to say thank you actually for giving us a little bit of nuance and delineation around the fact that you consider yourself really a marketing teacher and consultant. Because, and look, you know what, this is a whole other conversation in itself, but the whole area of business coaching, in inverted commas, is very I don't know whether the word is fraught, but it's complicated, because the truth is that if someone is truly a business coach, a lot of what they're doing is the opposite of what life coaching is, and that is they're giving advice, they're consulting, they're advising, they're doing all of those kinds of things. And so there's a lot of people that actually think there's no such thing as a business coach, that there is in fact a business consultant and a business advisor, a business mentor, if you like, you know, other things like that. But that is a very, very different thing to life coaching or any other form of coaching, where, of course, the idea is to really help clients come up with their own answers and their own way forward. And the blending of the two is not always easy, and can be done, but I think it's fantastic that you're working with somebody so you can bring folks both wonderful things at the same time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is a whole other episode we could do about business coaching, consulting industry. Yeah, another time.
Yeah, another time. Okay, so let's get down to it. You've now worked with so many thousands of coaches, Becca, and so you know what many new and embryonic coaching businesses look like, and you know some of the things after doing this for so many years that new coaches, emerging coaches should avoid. I know you've got 5 of them. So
yeah, I have to narrow it down. I have many.
I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm on the edge of my seat. It's like, okay, what do you want to give us first? What should people really avoid doing?
Yeah, and this is funny because as I was thinking of these, I was like, I obviously know of your program, but I have not been through your program, so I don't know the curriculum. And I was like, I wonder if you would agree with these or not. Like,
well, I might not. This is the thing.
You might not. Yeah,
I might not. There may be some things where I'm like, oh, that's different, and you know what? That's okay.
Yeah, I think
it really is okay, and we don't want to bring people sanitized conversation. Like, I didn't want to vet you, you know, and think, well, you can't say this, you can't say. I'm really interested to know. My sense is that I'm going to agree, or at least
let's find out.
With everything. Let's find out. So hit us with your first one.
Okay, so the first one is around niching. So I'm a big
straight to the heart.
I was like, I don't know if it's niching or not, but I'm going to talk about why I think so. The thing to avoid is going too long without a niche, or like overthinking the niche too much, trying to come up with the perfect niche before you go on and you start coaching. The reason I'm such a big fan of niching, especially for new coaches, it's not that you absolutely can't build a business if you don't have a niche. You can. People do it. It happens. The thing is, it usually takes longer. And with new coaches, already I think I know I had this problem. We expect it to happen faster than it actually happens. Like it being building a full-time business that sustains you financially, right? It takes longer than we think it's going to and longer than we want it to. And so I always like to advocate for like choose a niche for now. So don't think of this as like you're etching it in stone. It's your entire business, because then you're going to overthink it. But it's like, what's one program that you can create for one niche group solving one problem that you could easily get clients in right now so you can actually start coaching. Because when you don't have a niche and you're back here and you're kind of coaching everyone and your business isn't really working, I often see coaches burn out from that because it's a lot harder to get people in when you don't have a niche and you don't really know how to articulate what you do, and they quit their businesses. And so niching to me is a way to help you not quit your business because it helps you get traction a lot faster. Even if you're like, I don't know, this niche is 50%, feels 50% right or 70% right. Like it's not 100% knock it out of the park. I want to do this forever. It's still better than not having a niche because it's going to allow you to get clients. It's going to allow you to get started. It's going to allow you to actually coach. And once you are coaching one-on-one with a niche client in front of you, the niche doesn't matter as much because you're using all your coaching skills. And the thing that I think has people or coaches burn out faster is when they're not coaching. And so they're doing all the business building and marketing and trying to do all these things and they're not actually connected to the coaching work. And you get connected to it faster when you have a niche because it's easier to get people in the door. So I'm a big fan of niching early and niching hard early on and knowing that it can shift and change and you can throw it out the window if you don't like it in 6 months. But I just think it prevents you from burning out and wanting to quit your business because things actually start to get traction faster, which is so important when you're new.
It is 100% so important. And so we're off to a flyer because I'm in complete agreement with everything that you've said. And
Okay,
yes,
good.
we do. Yeah, we're all good. Not that we're not going to be good if we don't
Yeah.
agree, but I completely agree with you. We have always, for the 10 years that we have been training coaches, spoken about, trained, and taught in our course the importance of niching for all the reasons that you have mentioned and many more. I've actually never heard anyone speak about it in terms of its connection between niching and potential burnout and giving up your business. But now that I hear you talk about that, I 100% can see how that can completely be the case. And I just think it's so important. You are right, Becca, in that it's not necessarily what someone's going to do forever. Nothing is locked in stone. I started out with a niche of working with women in the area of body image, self-esteem, self-confidence, eventually moved into coaching coaches, which is not something I ever thought of. But even if somebody is a little bit unsure to begin with, just go with what you've got as far as a niche is concerned and know that, well, from my perspective, having trained thousands of life coaches from around the world now, I have not seen, when I look at our most successful coaches, one of the very clear, very clear things that stand out for me is you can see what their niche is almost instantly.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
clear. And that's not a coincidence, everyone. It's not a
totally.
coincidence. Yeah.
Yes, we could do a whole other episode on niching. I just have so much to say about it. But yes, I agree 100% with all of that. And I think that what a lot of coaches don't realize, because I get it, I started new and I wanted to do a lot of different things and I didn't want to get pigeonholed, but you get better at what you do. You become a better coach when you coach in the same niche over and over again. And that brings a lot of fulfillment versus kind of touching on the surface of a lot of different topics. You get to be an expert at one thing and you get to go really deep and you get to build your skills. And there's a lot of excitement and fulfillment that comes from niching that people don't expect. So you're just gonna have to trust us on that one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but all these other things. But the depth that you can go to is quite fulfilling for a lot of coaches that they don't get when they're kind of toying with 20 different niches at once. So trust us on that. New coaches.
Okay, let's talk about the next thing. Number 2 to avoid.
The next thing is spending time and money and energy on things like a business name and a logo and brand colors and even a website before you've worked with 10, let me say 10 niche clients. Everyone wants a number, so I'll throw out a number. That is my perspective because it's a lot. I did those things. Okay. I didn't spend a lot of money, probably a couple $100s, but a lot of time and a lot of energy kind of tinkering with like trying to get a logo that would look cute and that would play to this aspect of my business and all of these kind of tangible things because I wanted to feel legit. I wanted to be able to have a business card, which people don't use anymore, but when I started, we still had business cards. And I wanted to have a website, and I wanted to have like these forward facing things to make me feel like I'm a legit business owner, because I didn't have clients and I wasn't making any money. So I didn't feel legitimate. And fine, it made me feel slightly better about my business, but it still didn't get me any more clients or any more money. And so it was a huge waste of time and energy. And again, more time is going. I'm not working with clients. I'm starting to burn out. I'm starting to think, how is this ever going to work? Whereas putting all that stuff to the side and just focus on getting clients and working with clients before you invest in any of that stuff is it's just such a better use of time and money and energy. And I'm a big fan of people not wasting time and money and energy when they're new. So that is my perspective. And I would even add a website in there, that you don't need a website, especially you don't need a website until you've actually worked with enough niche clients that you know what to even put on your website. Like, how are you going to write your homepage and create an opt-in if you don't have a niche and you haven't worked with people and you don't really know kind of what the end result is that people are getting to? So yes, I
Makes
feel very
perfect
strongly
sense.
about that.
Yeah, I can tell. And I think that the way that you've put that, it just makes perfect sense. Essentially, what I hear you saying, which is again also what we say to people, is that there is nothing but nothing that is more important in your early learning, emerging, and formative stages of being a coach than actually doing it. Like
Yes.
actually coaching. Eventually, yes, things like a gorgeous brand that is reflective of your style and personality, great photos, a website, those kinds of things can absolutely elevate you. And if you're in it for the long haul, I'd even go so far as to say are required, because it's
Totally.
your
Yep.
front facing 24/7 presence to the world.
Yes.
Is it,
Agreed.
however, the most important thing or the most collection of important things in the start? No, it's not. It's
No.
absolutely not. And we have known, and I'm sure you have too, many, many coaches to get not just pro bono, but actually paying clients before they've had any of those things. We
Yes.
can trick ourselves into thinking, well, if I don't have those things, I'm not going to get that. And it's not true. It's absolutely not
A
true.
sales
People,
page in a Google
yeah.
Doc goes a long way. I
Yeah,
tell you.
yeah, it
Yeah.
just
Things
so
like a
eventually,
logo.
mm,
Coaches don't even need a logo. Like, I don't, do we
oh,
have do I have a logo? I might have a little bird. I don't even know what my logo
I,
is if I do
you
have one.
can have graphic elements. I think once logos are very 80s and very 90s. They had their big moments, I think, in those times where a lot of people thought, well, if you don't have a logo, you don't have a
You don't have a
brand.
brand. Yeah.
But a brand is so much more than an actual logo. Like we have a logo at the Academy, which feels appropriate, but I don't have a logo for my personal work.
Totally. Yeah.
Just
Same
nice
with the
colors and a
business
font
name.
I like.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's like find a nice font. That's all
Yeah,
you need. Same with a
yeah.
business name. I see a lot of coaches, especially because when you're new and you don't have a niche and you haven't worked with enough people, often the business names coaches are coming up with are kind of these like general, they sound fine. Like they're not really, they're not useful in any way as a business name.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
you're probably going to want to change it anyways once you go further along. And so I'm just a big advocate of just use your name. Unless your name is like crazy hard to say or spell, then use a variation of it or use just your first name and a last initial. Like find a fun way to keep it
Yeah.
simple. But your
Mm.
name is probably not going to change. And it just, yeah, it just takes out like all the brainstorming I've seen in my Facebook group. And even with my students, I have to constantly be like, you don't need a business name. Like, stop it. Use your name. Yeah, it just gets you started so much faster when you're not hung up on these little pieces. And when you do come up with if you do come up with a business name later, which I would say you don't even need to do. I have one because I came up with it at the beginning and it just kind of stuck. But I
Stuck.
would
Mm.
I would also easily go back and use just my name because most people
Mm.
are searching for my name when they're searching.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but a
That
lot of
makes
that stuff
total
is going to be
sense.
better too once you've actually been coaching for a while and once you've had some clients and once you've kind of are really starting to see where your true niche lies and where your true expertise lies. You're going to then be able to brand and niche and create your elements all around that niche, which you just can't do at the beginning. So
Mm.
it's you can do it. I totally agree 100%. Later, you should definitely have
Yeah.
a website for sure. But at the beginning, it's just a big time suck. and
There's
money
that
talks.
straight shooting. There's that straight shooting. Yeah.
Don't need it. Don't need it. And I know it because I did it. I spent so much time trying to make. Remember, there was a coach that I followed, and she had like a yellow, her contact form was like this yellow color, and I thought it was really cool. And so I remember spending like a whole night trying to like code my website so I could get my contact form in this cool, funky yellow color. It was a different yellow than hers, but it was my yellow color. And I just, what a waste of time and what a sleepless night. I didn't get any more clients because my contact form was yellow. Like nobody cared. And
Mm.
yeah, I just think, yeah, it's a whole big time suck. And you can't, I think a lot of people do it because they want to feel confident, right? It's like I have a business.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Mm.
And you can only coach your way to confidence. You cannot. There's nothing else that you can do in your business that's going to make you a confident coach except for coaching.
Mm. You can only coach your way to confidence. I love that so much. Thank you,
Only way,
Becca.
unfortunately.
Hit us with number three.
Okay. Number three is actually that was kind of two and three because I combined a
Okay.
website along with all the other things. So let's get to number four.
Okay, so we're extracting the website part of it. Like, don't get caught up in shiny website syndrome. Know that it's to come,
Yeah,
but
and
don't focus on the start.
I
Mm.
think I had the website separately because when you've worked with at least 10 clients in your more refined niche, then you start to pick up that client language. You start to understand how people are actually talking about what's going on for them. They're not using coaching language usually. And so you
Yeah.
come out of all these amazing coach programs with a whole new language, and it is not what your clients are using. And so when you coach people, you start to actually see, oh my gosh, they're all coming in saying that they have a problem with this and they're struggling with this. And so you start to really get to understand their language. You also start to see what kind of results you've gotten for people. And so all of that becomes your website copy. And so if you make a website
Mm.
prematurely, it might look pretty, but it's not really going to be speaking the right language to the right people. Once you've coached 10 people in your niche, you're going to have a way better idea how to speak to them. You'll have developed your messaging and your kind of signature system for getting people from A to B. And so that all just becomes so much more compelling on your website once you've actually coached. So I guess it's a little bit separate because it is like the coaching really is going to inform what goes on the website, and it can't really happen in reverse.
I can see that. Otherwise, someone's going to be constantly updating their website and
Yeah, I mean,
tinkering in
which
the
you do
back
anyway.
end. Yeah, that's
But
right.
it's a lot of time to write website copy, right? When you're,
Mhm.
especially when you're new and you've never done it before. And so you think like you have a home page, you have an about page, you'll have your services page and maybe a longer sales page and maybe a contact page and maybe some other like it's a lot of content to create and it's all going to be pretty generic until you've coached. So I just say like leave the website, leave all the copywriting, really nail the niche and the language and then come back and do that stuff.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thanks, Becca. What's number four? Bring us home with number
Okay.
four and then let's
Number
go five.
four is actually I have yeah, so that was three, four. Okay, four. Four is um an expectation that it's gonna happen quickly. I
Oof.
remember sitting in coaching school with the lead coaches. I trained through CTI. I remember the coaches telling us what they charged because people always want to know in those sessions, right? We have the Q&A sessions, like how much do you charge? And I sat down there and I did the math. Everyone kind of pulls out their phone and they're secretly like doing the math. Okay, so I'm charging, I don't know, can't remember what the coaches were charging. And you're like, oh, I only need like 10 or 12 clients to like get this thing going. Okay. And it sounds easy, right? And then you go out and maybe you do get a client right away, which sometimes happens. And then you realize it's not that easy to get and sustain that number of clients ongoing. And I think that this is not the fault of the coaching schools. It's not the fault of well, it is the fault of the online marketers who are being like, you can build your six-figure
Mm.
business overnight, which we all know is a crock of mess and we all are over it. But I think that there's still a necessity to have a realistic expectation of how long it's going to take to replace your full-time income and get to a place where you like can live off of this, things feel steady, you're not in this cycle of like I did well this month and I have no money next month. And I always say that's like 2 years. I'm curious what you say. I hesitate to sometimes put a timeline on it because I have seen it happen faster and I have seen it happen way slower. But I feel like 2 years is the amount of time where you've like really validated your niche idea, maybe switched niche hopped a couple times, settled into something, learned how to market to that niche, learned how to sell to that niche, have gotten your online assets up and are starting to get visibility, and like things are kind of rolling along.
Yeah. I also am, there's so much goodness in here. First of all, I kind of want to stand and cheer, but I
I feel
won't
like
because
I always am
I'm
really
just
like
going to knock
standing.
my microphone over and all of the things. But this is huge. This is an absolutely massive thing that if emerging coaches can just let go of the need, the desire, the intense pull for everything to happen so quickly and or yesterday, they would be amazed at how much more grounded their nervous system would be
Yeah.
and how much more you could attract and achieve if you let go of that expectation. So I'm in complete agreement. Way back when I trained more than 20 years ago now, such a thing was not even spoken about
Right.
because everybody knew then back in those days when hardly anybody knew what coaching was, there was no quick route at all. Nobody was talking about that at all. It was, we knew, everyone just knew this was going to be a slow burn because the industry was, so many people just didn't even know what it was. Whereas now the messaging, it can be very seductive and dangerous. And again, that's a whole other episode altogether. As for a timeline, I think it's perfectly okay. Sometimes I think, for people to say 2 years. I never say timelines because I
Yeah. I
believe
usually
that
don't
that
either, but I'm like, I'm just
but
gonna say it.
but
That's
two
sort of like,
years is okay because
yeah,
it's not outrageous in any way. But for me, I don't say them because I think they're so dependent. So when I
totally.
hear about something like 2 years for somebody to go from never having coached before to being in their coaching business full time, there's a lot of asterisks that come with that,
Totally.
including how some of the things that you've already mentioned. How clear is your niche? How much consistent time, consistent being whatever that means to you, are you devoting to your business?
Yeah.
How much are you backing yourself with marketing and self promotion? Are you just sitting back and expecting everybody to come to
Right. Yeah.
you?
This is 2 years
Or
of
are
hard
you
work.
yeah, this is 2 years of deeply committed, consistent, ongoing, even with a full time job, going at it with everything that you've got. And if there's any pullback from that, well, then you need to add another 3 months, six
Yeah.
months, 12 months. And so that 2 years is if you're giving everything. If there are lots of other reasons why that might not be possible for you, say you're a mum of a baby and a toddler, and or you're a carer for someone, or there are other aspects in your life that mean you can't do those things, you're going to need to give yourself more grace and time.
Yeah.
But I'm in total agreement with everything that you say. We've got to let go of this, intense desire to do things quick, hard and fast. And I know that for a lot of people, that can stem from the fact that they come to coaching. I'm just going to be perfectly honest here, because they hate their jobs
Yes. Yeah.
and they want to jump out really fast.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, I know, but I
Keep
know,
your
but
job or go get another job that you like. Yeah, because I think, especially because people come to coaching often and it's a whole new industry. And so if you were going and scrapping your industry and starting fresh in a brand new industry, you're not going to be making like 150K in your first job that you get. You're
yeah,
starting at the bottom, you're learning the skills, you're building it up. And that's not to say that in those 2 years you're not making any money, but you can be making money in those 2 years for sure. It's not that you're going to go from zero to whatever in 2 years, like you slowly. But yeah, that is definitely with, like you said, a lot of effort and also being willing to make decisions. I talk a lot about decision making as a skill for new coaches. Decide a niche is
mm.
not a thing you have to figure out. It's a decision that you have to make. I can talk a whole lot about that too, but I think a
Ooh,
lot of it is
mm.
decision making and deciding, yes, I'm going to choose a niche that's clear because I want this business. Deciding, yes, I'm going to choose one marketing strategy and I'm going to do it for 6 months instead of just kind of doing it once and saying it doesn't work and doing a thing over here. And so it's really a lot of decision making and like taking action on those decisions quickly that will
Mm.
get you there in those 2 years.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And Let's bring it home. Final point.
Okay. The final one is about pricing because I see this a lot, and this is another
Ooh.
online business marketing problem. Pricing too high, putting your prices too high out of the gates, or putting your prices higher than where your confidence level is as a coach. Let's call it that, because too high is very subjective. But I always want to see coaches pricing at the level of confidence that they know they can deliver. So if you are brand new and you're coming at a coaching school and you're like, I've only practiced coached with people all over the place, I don't know what I'm doing, coach for free. And as your skills build and you start to be like, you know what, I can get people results, put your prices up to match that. But you don't want your price to be up here and your confidence to be down here. I did that, I think, on the advice probably of some coach that I worked with when I was new. And I remember being like, I'm going to raise my prices. Like, I need to get paid for what I do. And I remember getting on consult calls with people, and I was terrified that they would say yes. Because I'm like, if they say yes, then they're going to give me their money, which is feels like a lot of money to me. And I don't know that I can get them
Deliver.
where they need to get. And that is
Mm.
not a good way to show up as a coach, and terrifying, and also not a good way to sell. So when your confidence is a little bit higher than what your prices are, then you can sell the crap out of that coaching package because you know, there's not even like sales skills you need. You just know that you can do it for people. And it's so much easier to have those sales conversations when the confidence is higher than the price and not the other way around. And I think it kind of shoots new coaches in the foot by saying price what you're worth and charge premium rates and whatever all that hoopla is. Or even just new coaches being like, okay, well, I got to replace my income. So they set these prices that they kind of see other coaches setting, and yet they don't know that they can actually coach anyone to those results. And so I'm a huge fan of building your prices as you go, as your confidence builds. And this is another reason why niching is helpful, because when you're coaching a bunch of people in the same niche, your confidence grows really fast because you're starting to see all the commonalities. You develop new coaching, you kind of pull from your coaching toolkit to help people get through those blocks in that specific niche. And you can get there a lot faster than if you're constantly coaching different people and never really getting to like fine tune your coaching skill set.
Love it. Love it. I think that that is such sage and wonderful advice. I'm in complete agreement. I remember back when I was doing, lots of one-on-one coaching well before the academy even started, that at one point in time when I raised my prices, the leap to doing that, it was enormous. Now, mind you, I'd done a lot of pro bono coaching and had been working at lower rates, but every time I raised my prices, it came with needing to, uplift myself in some way. And if you do make that leap just far, far too big and far too early, you lose your foundations. And we don't want to do that, because when we lose our coaching foundations, we can't coach well. And when we can't coach well, we don't deliver what we should in our space holding. And then we don't get that beautiful flow on effect of other people talking about us to others and saying they had a wonderful experience with us. And so it's all deeply interconnected. So I absolutely love that, Becca. And look, we made it to the end and complete agreements with everything.
Great. Great. I'm curious which ones
How
we
about
wouldn't have
that?
agreed upon. That's fun to think about. I mean, there's just so many
Oh,
there's different viewpoints on all of these. I could find you business coaches who would disagree with every single thing that I just said, right? And so a lot
yep.
of it is as coaches needing to like try different things, try a strategy, see if it works, try not niching, see if it works, try niching, see if it works, right? I think it's at the end of the day, it's always up to the coach to decide how they want to run their business. But I think that there are, having worked with many coaches as you have, there are definitely certain things that can help get you there faster. And so that's where the decision making becomes important, and being willing to decide, okay, even though this doesn't feel, like niching doesn't feel comfortable to me, I'm going to make a decision to try it because Becca and Julie both said it worked. So I'm going to give it a go for 6 months.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Becca, the work that you do at the Uncaged Life with coaches is absolutely fantastic. Your expert interview that has been a part of our
I
course now
know. I forgot
for
about it.
years is timeless. Like, I
I
don't
feel like
even
that was
know.
recorded in what, like 2012, probably 13, maybe.
I don't think it's
13?
that long ago because
It's not?
it's that's 10 years and we're 10 years old, but I reckon it's about 8 to 9 years
Okay,
old.
yeah, it's
It's
definitely.
timeless. It's
I know. I
timeless.
think I asked you if I could update it, and you're like, nope, it's good. And I was
No,
like, really? I
no,
don't even know what
I said no.
I said.
No, you don't. Well, what you speak about in that interview, which is a part of our course, is about why life coaching, why coaching, I should say, why coaching is a skill and not a business. And it's just timeless because you talk about one of the foundational things that you've spoken about in this interview, and that is commitment to the craft, commitment to coaching, and commitment to skill development is number one. Like it is the thing that grows your coaching confidence and that you have to do, and that you can't just assume that once you've trained to be a coach, you then have a business, that there are so many other things that you need to do along the way. So I'm sure we'll replace it at some point in time, but truly it is just, it's solid gold and it doesn't
Yes, I
need
love it because
replacing. It's so
I'll sometimes have
good.
students that join our program from your program, which I always love because they're always good coaches, which helps us
Mhm.
do our job better. But they'll mention that interview, and I'm like, oh, I don't even know what I said in it, but thank you. I'm sure it was good.
It was good and it remains one of the favorites. And so, thank you for being
Aw, thank
such a
you.
long term friend of ours. Thank you for everything that you do to uplift the coaching industry and coaches. This is going to be an interview. I know that it's going to help so many new coaches with everything that they do in their business. And so, thank you so much for being with us.
Yes, thanks for having me. It's so nice to see you again.
You too. Thank you, Becca.